Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Rittenhouse Square virtual edition. My name is Christa Forrest. Thank you for coming on and joining me live as I give you a peek into my studio. I'm really excited to be involved with Rittenhouse Square. My first show ever with them was in last fall, and it was amazing. It was my first show in a city atmosphere, and it was so much fun. The volunteers, the staff, everybody did a really great job in organizing this show. Really bummed that I can't be in Philly this weekend for another show, but I'm really glad that Rittenhouse Square Fine Arts really put together this online virtual edition. So again, my name's Christa. This is my studio. Little secret, I do not have a fancy studio. We are literally in the corner of my bedroom. And my bigger easel is out in my living room. So this is where I create. I also shoot and film video for YouTube. I do a lot of demos and step-by-step videos on YouTube, and I also create online courses, art courses for beginners to advanced. So definitely go to my website at www.creativesouls.com, creativesoulsart.com, and check out everything I have to offer. So usually right now I am in packing up the tent, packing up the artwork mode. Right now I am not. Right now I've been kind of halted because every show that I got into has been canceled. So basically all my works in progress are kind of still works in progress. So right now I have a lot of stuff going on. Right behind me, this is Lisa. She's a work in progress. I was hoping to have her up on in the Creative Souls Art tent in Rittenhouse, but I'm still working on her. And she's in oil, so I'm still kind of working on her. A few other pieces that were supposed to be up in the tent, I was supposed to finish. And I'll just give you a little peek, and maybe if you check out or subscribe to my email list, you'll see all the finished pieces. Hopefully I can get them done by the end of the summer here. But here's another piece I'm working on here. She's also in oil. Most of the pieces like this, I worked in oil on a wood panel. I enjoy working that way, but I do have some other things that I've been working on for my online courses that I'll share with you as well. Another piece that I have here. This is another goddess that I've been kind of playing with as well. So hopefully I can get those all done soon, so I can, hopefully Rittenhouse will be up and running in the fall because I'm going to be there as well. So a few things, just because I've been stuck in the house, I've been doing a lot of YouTube and online tutorials and demonstrations. And I've been working a lot on paper. One of the things that everybody says to me, they come in the tent, I don't have any room for artwork on my wall. So I've been working smaller lately, and I've been doing some stuff on paper. And so I'm going to share a few of these pieces. I started this in the beginning of the year, and I was creating a portrait a day. And these are on paper, and they're acrylic and colored pencil, and sometimes watercolor as well. Where do I get my subjects from? Well, some of them I get online. Like Lisa, I've met her through social media, and we've been friends through social media. I've never met her in person. Another place I get my photo references from is online. I have an app that I like to play with called the Sketchy app, where I get a lot of my ideas, Instagram, and so forth. Most, with the exception of Lisa, a lot of these goddess portraits are kind of created from my head. I kind of try to create instead of copying the photo. That lets me be a little bit more expressive and kind of outwardly expressive in my process. So here's let me get another one I worked on. This is a course that is rolling out next week. I'm promoting I do a lot of online courses here. This is when I'm working with another artist. And our focus, my inspiration was Nina Simone here. So I kind of created this little color explosion here with Nina Simone using acrylic, watercolor, and colored pencil. So I am a true mixed media artist. I like using every single acrylic, oil, watercolor, pencils, everything, and pastel. I do want to share with you because I've been playing around and experimenting with pastels, and that was my first thing that I started out with, but I never really did portraits with them, and I just created this piece, if I can get her out here, using watercolor and pastel. I have to frame her. She is like right, I just finished her, and I'm developing a course in showing you how I actually created this. So this is kind of a sneak peek on some of the things I'm working on. You can definitely go to my website to see all my courses. I have a few free ones there. I actually go live. I do a live workshop on Zoom every other week where I basically break down a painting and show you how to paint it step by step. You just caught me right in the middle. I'm actually developing some artwork here where I am creating a piece that I want to teach and get people to learn how to paint step by step. Another little secret, I did not go to art school. I am completely self-taught, so I don't have any rules. Everything goes with me. That's how I teach. That's how my creative process is. I probably wouldn't make it through art school. I don't know. I'm always trying to find a way to do something or get something done in a non-conventional way. But I love to teach. It's probably the thing I love to do most. And it's really kind of the mission that I have. A little history about me. I wasn't always an artist. I had a 20-year career in finance. Let that go, quit that job, and decided to be a painter, a full-time artist, full-time, and got to follow my passion. So I feel really blessed in being able to, follow my passion. So one thing that I like to do is share my creative process and my creative journey with all of you. So doing this is really amazing and awesome. And I hope to do it more, and I hope to see you all more, and I hope to see you in Rittenhouse in the fall and next year too. So I just wanted to share a little bit of my process. Now I have several processes that I follow, but this one in particular is a way that I approach painting portraits. This person I just kind of made up from my head, just kind of sketching. And what I like to do is I like to create an underpainting. I like to get all the kinks out. I like to kind of do a dress rehearsal first, so I know where I'm going and what I'm doing before I start doing what I need to do, if that makes sense. So here I'm going to move her up so you can see. Okay. I'm going to move her up so you can see. I'm going to move up closer to the, thank you. I'm going to move up closer so you can see what I'm working on. Hopefully my hair doesn't get in the way. And here, I just sketched this out this morning. And I usually what I use to sketch out my faces is a pencil. This is called a Stabilo All pencil. And what this pencil does is it activates with water. So I like to use this when I'm sketching in my faces, especially with acrylic. I don't really do it with oil. If I work in oil, I'll sketch in with some burnt sienna or burnt umber oil paint. But when I'm working in acrylics, I'll use this pencil. And this is, here I can get really sketchy and messy. I can make mistakes, I can fix them, I can get some confidence going in the beginning, and I don't have to feel so kind of, stiff. I loosen up, turn some music on, get a glass of wine, and I start kind of loosening up here. And here, the underpainting is, again, my dress rehearsal. This is where I kind of prepare and get every little kink out before I start adding paint. And basically, as you can see, and I don't know if you can see all the sketching I did, but I'll go in with the pencil and just kind of quickly sketch in my face shape here. And this was completely from my head. This is not from a photo reference at all. And then I take a brush and some water, and I just go ahead and kind of move that brush around and start getting in my shadows, my lights, and my darks, and start kind of playing here and getting in my face shape. And I don't get all caught up and too worried about making mistakes. I don't get caught up in, finishing the final details right now. I kind of approach my creative process very intuitively and very kind of free and loose. I try not to make a strict plan. I probably don't approach painting as if I went to art school, but that's okay. I get it done, and the end result, to me, works. I hope so. And I just kind of move my brush around. I can smudge with my finger, or I can blot it back up if it gets too much. And I find that the pencil gives me a little bit of control before I get started. And I just create this kind of monotone, just kind of with this brown pencil, and I get the foundation going in my piece here. And I'm going to start working on her hair, because the hair is probably my favorite part of all of my pieces. And if you've seen me, if you saw me in the fall, you've seen some of my work. It's pretty big hair. I'm pretty a big fan of painting big, wild hair here. And usually just the hair, I like to get in the shape. Again, water and a brush. I gotta pick up a bigger brush. I'm not even worried about if it drips. And I just kind of want to get in a really good shape. And moving my brush around. And enjoying the process as well. And this is one of my favorite things, really one of my favorite subjects. I love big hair. I love focusing on women of color. I love kind of representing the beauty and trying to kind of really emphasize that and show that and really kind of, show off that, we are all beautiful inside and out, and really kind of express that in my work. I try to keep little flaws in my work as well. I don't want them to be too perfect, because none of us are perfect, and there is no such thing as perfect. So I try, you may not see the flaws, but I try to keep them in there. I gave her some big earrings here. I don't know if I'll keep them, but we'll see. And it's just kind of, and again, I don't care if it drips, that's okay. It adds to the fun of the painting. It'll all get covered up anyway with the acrylic as well here. And then I can go in again with my pencil and darken areas and create some depth and texture as well. Do I have any questions out there? Is anybody out there? Anybody got any questions for me? A little bit about kind of my business. It is, I call it Creative Souls Art, and it's all about sharing my process, getting people to see themselves creating as well. A lot of times people see art, or they come in and they see us create these amazing, they come to our tents and they see these amazing works, but they never really get to experience what we go through. And it's not always perfect, it's not always fun. I go through various levels of anxiety when I'm creating. I go through periods of when I don't like it. I go through periods of loving it. I go up and down until I get to the finished product. And I like to share that process, and I like to share that journey. People actually really appreciate it. And I like to share my mistakes. So a lot of times in my online courses, I talk about the mistakes that I made, or things I struggle with. Because usually there's somebody out there that struggles as well with the same thing. And I just kind of move the brush. I'm using the pencil and the brush back and forth till I get it to kind of where I want it to be here. And this to me is probably a really fun process. I gotta sharpen my pencil every so often because the canvas definitely eats up my pencil. This is a fun process. I actually really enjoy this part of the process. Because here I take away all notions of the finished piece, and I just have fun. I just kind of have fun and let loose, and this is where I can get really expressive. And I love this pencil. I mean, I can use paint too, but I love using this pencil because I just have a lot more control with it. And I just take my brush, and you notice here how it activates with water. I don't know what's different about this pencil. I learned about it at a workshop I took, and some people are terrified of this pencil, and some people absolutely love it. I love it. You just have to learn how to use it so that it doesn't, you know. Because remember, as soon as you add water to it, it activates. I think I'll get her earrings in. I put some earrings in there. I wasn't sure I wanted to throw them in there, but I think I will. Let's see if I can get it back here. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see them. Some more about this process. Once I'm done with kind of playing around with my underpainting, I will go in and start adding paint. And I'll let this dry completely. This will have to dry completely before I move forward. But usually I spend a good amount of time on this part of the process because I enjoy it. It's actually very relaxing for me. But when I get to the point of where I want to add paint, I use acrylic paint. My palette, because I'm teaching, I'm probably going to teach this online. I try to keep it really simple. And the palette that I've been using has been just yellow, red, and blue, black, and white. That's it. So I try to keep it really simple because most of the people that take my class are beginners, and they don't have a ton of supplies like I do. So I keep it simple, and I try you can get pretty much any color with the primary colors. I've actually have been able to teach myself to do that. So it's simple, it makes it really easy, and you don't have to go out and buy every single color, I mean, unless you want it, which I do. And then I will start filling in. Once I'm done with this, I'll introduce the acrylics. I start with I start color blocking, and I call it a color blocking phase. And that's where I go in and I block in the lights, the darks, and the midtones. I don't really worry about, blending and smooth transitions between colors. I kind of focus more on just getting the darks and the lights where they need to be. It makes it a lot easier to do that because I've already kind of done it with the underpainting. So it makes it easy. It's almost like color by numbers when I'm painting. So the underpainting serves a great purpose. You get you get all that done. You get a nice foundation, a nice roadmap before you get started there. So this is why, another reason why I like to spend a lot of time on this part of the process. And I just keep going back and forth. Creating shape and working this. I can work on this for probably, the next couple of days here. But I don't have time to do that. I'm going to get this done because I got to work on another live session. And I'll put a bigger brush here. A bigger brush. To get the forehead in. Blot out some of that to create the light area. And then kind of go back in and re-emphasize any dark as well. And you can't mess it up. I love working with, I do work a lot with colored pencils and pastels because I always like to have a really nice, a good control, and I usually have more control over what I'm doing with a pencil or pastel. And it took me a long time to transition. Again, when I started, I was a pastel artist. And I really wanted to kind of get to know oils. I wanted to work in oils. And that's usually my primary way of creating these goddess portraits. And then I just do acrylic because it's easier to teach because most people don't have oils, and it's quicker and it dries fast. But it took me a while to get used to painting with a brush. I was used to using pastel sticks and pencils. So it took me a long time to really feel comfortable with it. It took me a really long time because with pencils and pastels, you got each individual color. It took me a really long time to really get used to it and comfortable mixing colors. So I've been through several trial and errors. Even when I started painting faces, getting the palette, my color palette, together when I start painting. It took me a while, and it really took me a while to master just using the primary colors. It wasn't easy, and this whole process has not been easy for me. It's always been a work in progress, and I love that. And I'm always taking online courses. I'm always learning from new other artists, how they do things and what their process is. And then I always go home and take a little bit and experiment with just little things that they do. Occasionally I learn something new here. So that's how I've learned as an artist. That's how I've grown. I still have a long way to go as an artist. I feel I'm just not really there yet. I feel like I have a long journey ahead of me, which is okay, and I'm okay with that. But I enjoy growing, and I enjoy being in having that type of feeling that I'm always growing. It's very important. I never want to feel like I've mastered something, because then I have nothing else to learn. Working the face, getting it kind of to where I want it to be. Almost there. A few little secrets I'll share on how I do certain things. A lot of what I am known for, and I don't have any paintings in front of me where I do my hair. I think I do. Yeah, I think I do. I don't have any paintings with me where I do hair. But a couple of secrets that, because everyone always asks me, how do I paint individual hair strands? And I pretty much get the hair to look pretty realistic. And I use a really small brush, but if I'm working in acrylic, I use acrylic ink. That's my secret, because it's really kind of watery without being watery. And I take a small little brush and I basically paint, and so for this one, that's what I do. I basically paint each individual hair strand like so. And I can do that a bit. I don't know if you can see that because it's not really dark enough. Maybe I'll get some ink here. So reach over here. I got some black here, and I'll do a little bit of hair. It's usually the last thing I do, but share it a little bit. And get a smaller brush here. Just go around I'll do around the right here so you can see it better. And I just go around with the acrylic ink, and I basically paint with a I don't even know if you can see that. I basically take my small brush in this acrylic ink. This is in black. I can use brown or so forth. And I sit, and this is when I'm working in acrylic, not oil. And I sit and I paint each individual hair strand, and I'm almost holding my brush like it's a feather. There is actually no weight on it, and I just kind of move it around, and it takes hours to do. If you can zoom in on that, but I will. If you go to my Instagram post today, I have posted a piece where I really did that intricate hair. But yeah, it is tedious. It takes a lot of work, but it's kind of relaxing to sit and paint the individual hair strands. I don't know if you can see that there. It's really, really thin, and I use thin watercolor brush. And I will do that all around the edges of the hair and throughout. And that's how I create that kind of natural, realistic hair as well. Alright, so I'll keep moving. I'm not quite finished with my underpainting here. I still have a ton to do here. But I just wanted to show you, give you kind of a peek on how I work that hair. And I just go in and very lightly kind of work through my feet here, getting in the dark, leaving the lights where they are, and letting those mid-tones show through. You can't really mess it up if I make any mistakes. I can blot it with a paper towel, or I'll make note of that mistake and try to resolve it later on when I start painting with acrylic. This prevents me from getting, all that anxiety of ruining a painting, because that happens. And here I can get any kinks or anything that I need to get out. Is she smiling enough? You know, are her eyes evenly spaced? Do I need to go back in and, you know, rework her eyes? You know, do I need to go back in? I can't step back here because you are right there, but I usually will step back every all so often because here's a little, you know, thing that happens all the time with me. My portraits tend to slide towards the right here, so they tend to kind of curve downward. So I always have to step back, get right in front of it, and make sure I'm, you know, everything is kind of, you know, evenly placed. So that's a little secret I shared with you, that, you know, things aren't always perfect when I'm sitting here creating. Many times I have to go in and readjust areas. A little bit more shadow and shade in there. Keep the towel flat and work back and forth. And eventually it gets to where I think I want it to be, where I feel comfortable with the process. And I wish I could finish. I wish I had enough time to finish this whole piece, because I would start putting the paint on here and start giving it some color. But some ideas about where I want this to go, I will definitely post this on my Facebook page. If you want to follow me at Christa Forrest Fine Art on my Facebook page, I'll post this finished piece. But what I'm thinking about is usually I'll add a collage element to the piece. So I'll take some tissue paper, that's the mixed media in me, and I'll kind of collage some clothing on the bottom there. And I'm thinking bright, I'm thinking really bright, and I'm in my blue phase, so I'm thinking about a blue background, maybe something like a sky. I don't know, or I'll keep it neutral. Haven't really decided yet. I don't really decide on the background until I really get down into the face and get that expressiveness or that story going. I look at my paintings like a story. You know, there's the beginning part where I start the initial sketch, and then I let the story kind of happen. And I try not to approach a lot of my work with a strict plan. Because I like to let the painting kind of move through its process and let it speak to me and let it tell its story. And that's how I get to my finished piece. And so for me to see, okay, what story is this face? What is she telling me? What's her story? What's her name? What's her history? And what does she want to tell the viewer? And once I get that down, and that usually will start happening when I start working through her face and giving her some skin color, really getting those eyes where they need to be, and then start working her hair. And then all of a sudden something starts to happen. A story emerges from this. And then I can decide where I want to go with the background. A lot of my pieces can be very abstract in the back. Or they can just be very realistic skies or a neutral background like Lisa over here, which I'm just going to keep very neutral. So it all depends on what she is telling me, what story she's telling me and how I want that story to emerge. It's very important to me, and that's how I like to go about my process. Let's see, where else can I give? Step here. So a little story about Rittenhouse while I'm creating. You know, Rittenhouse, in the fall, that was my first show. That was my first show that I did in a city atmosphere. And I was so nervous. Usually I put up my tent, I'm like 2 miles away from my house. And that was my first time, and it was the first show I ever had to do without my husband helping me. Usually he's there putting up the tent. So I was so nervous, loading up, having to park my car in the middle of the city and kind of putting this tent together by myself. My daughter came with me, but I have to say, again, the volunteers and all the staff at Rittenhouse Square did an awesome and amazing job, and I have to thank them. It was one of the best shows I've ever kind of participated in, and it was one of the most successful shows. I even did a demo as well one of the days. So I enjoyed. I really hope that Rittenhouse really comes back in the fall. I really hope I can be in Philly in the fall. If not, we can go online again. What I wanted to let you know, definitely go to my website at www.creativesoulsart.com and check out my art that I have available in my shop. All my art, to everyone that's listening here in this live show, you can get 20% off all the art available on there. Use code Rittenhouse at checkout and you'll get 20% off. Thank you so much for, one, supporting Rittenhouse Square Fine Arts. They are so amazing, and I will continue to support them and do whatever they need me to do to help them out, promote, do this, and whatever we need to do as artists to keep them going, because they are amazing and they offer an amazing show. And, you know, I'm really happy that they continue to support the artists as well, because we're really hurting right now. This whole thing has really put us, we love going out and talking to all of you. So it's really hard for me to be in here and not being able to talk to you outside. So thank you so much. How much more time do we have? 3 more minutes. Thank you so much for watching me create this amazing goddess. Please check out all of the other live shows going on. There's a lot going on this weekend. There's actually one going on right after me, so definitely stay on and watch and support us and support Rittenhouse Square Fine Arts. And thank you so much for supporting me and spending some time with me. Again, go to my website, www.creativesoulsart.com. Get 20% off any of the artwork that I have to offer on my shop site. Definitely check out some of the courses. Go to my YouTube. You can get all that information on my website. And thank you. Thank you and thank you. Do I have any questions before I sign off? Are we good with time? How many more minutes? 7? 7 more minutes? I got 7 more minutes. All right, well, I still got some time. So I'm going to keep creating, keep going, until it's time for us to sign off. And I'm almost, I think I'm ready to give her some paint. And I wish I had another 45 minutes with you to kind of add some paint and add some color to her. While we are kind of signing off, I'll tell you my journey of how I go about. I usually start with her eyes and I work from there, and then I'll work maybe the nose and throughout the whole face there. I don't know if I'm going to keep her earrings. I think I need to step back with that. Now that I look at it through the screen there, I'm not really sure they're working, but we'll see. We'll see. I still have space to adjust things as well. And then maybe we'll kind of work her hair shape a little bit. I kind of like it, but I'll still kind of see where that story takes me, and where she wants to take me, or what journey she wants to take me, and what her name wants to be. I'm not really sure right now. And then I'll work on the background and kind of decide where I want to go from there. Sometimes in the background, I'll add a collage element to that. I'll actually collage old books or whatever through there. So it all depends on what I'm feeling. It all depends on what the space is telling me. And that's the direction I go when I'm creating. Um, and sometimes, sometimes it just doesn't work. And I have plenty of pieces around me right now that I just don't return to because I don't know, I can't figure out what the story is going to be. And that's the type of artist I am. I'm very sensitive to it, and it's tough finishing a piece. But thank you all for saying, for your amazing, kind comments. Thank you so much. That's really, yeah, she's getting there. She's beautiful, but she's getting there. She's not there yet. I'm still going to keep working on her, but I'll post her later on, probably in a couple of days. And I'll give you, if you go to my Facebook site, I'll share, or my website, maybe I'll put it up there. I will share the finished piece. So, we got 2 more minutes? 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So I'm just going to keep working. I got 3 minutes. I'm going to keep working here, on here, trying to create a little bit more depth here. And I'll stop talking because I can talk a little too much and keep going and going. Kind of working the hair. I like to spend a lot of time on the hair, like I showed you there. I love spending a lot of time on the hair because it's just something that's important to me, especially natural hair. Really important to me. It's important for me to kind of tell that story and support natural hair and wearing your hair any way you want. Add some texture too in here. I'm just going back and forth. I go back and forth with the brush and the pencil until, I get it there. This piece will probably take me about maybe, I'm going to say it'll take me about 6 hours to kind of complete, depending. If it's acrylic, it takes me a little quicker. For about 6 hours and I'll be done with it. I love how the little drips happen. I think it adds to it, even though it's going to get covered up, but I just like that. And I'll continue to work this face, this hair. Actually, I think the face is pretty good. And I'll continue to work the hair throughout, adding some shadow in there, adding some shape, some depth, some texture, and getting it. I really think I'm going to get rid of these earrings. I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I want to get rid of them. But we'll see. And then I'll start, once I'm done in here and happy with this full underpainting, I'll start adding some paint. So we are about timed up here. That went really fast. Really, thank you so much for following along. Thank you for following me and your support. Definitely stay on, because at 4 o'clock there's going to be another artist on here going live. So stay on. I hope you've been on all day, and stay tuned for the whole weekend. There's a lot of goodies going on all weekend. Again, go to my website, www.creativesoulsart.com. Get 20% off any of the art that I have to offer on my site. Just use code Rittenhouse at checkout. So thank you so much. I hope to see you all in the fall, fingers crossed. If not, you'll see me back here online, and I'm going to sign off. Thank you.